I am the product of my environment. There's people in this community lived just for basketball.
Jermaine O Neal.
We sold season tickets. Yo, that's unheard of in high school. It's pretty difficult being brought up in some areas I was brought up in. That's okay. I'm gonna use basketball as a tool to get out of this area. Somebody had to write a story on whether a person should make it and experience all these different things, going through the pain, the anger, and the suffering that I've had. I think at the end of the story, we say, nah, he didn't make it.
Before the deals, before the fame, just the game.
Jermaine O Neal.
This is the story of Jermaine O Neal back in the day.
Jermaine O Neal was the best big man to come out of South Carolina.
Jermaine basically just kept growing and growing till the point where we started making the all-star team.
He's a double-double guy. You know, he's long, he's athletic, he's quick.
Guy that play inside and outside.
He punish dudes on the offensive end, defensively.
He gonna bang with you.
I mean, there's certain players that have it and there's certain players that don't, and he's right up there top with the best of them.
If sports is all about statistics, Jermaine is loaded with them. 1996 McDonald's All-American, drafted right out of high school, and of course, a 5-time NBA All-Star. Jermaine O Neal is the man, but what about the boy inside the man? On October 13th, 1978, Angela Jones gave birth to Jermaine O Neal in Columbia, South Carolina. Jermaine's father left before he was born.
He had to overcome not having his real dad in his life. That was a battle for him.
He saw some sides of the streets. He saw what the street life was like.
Amidst the gorgeous backdrop of the South, Columbia, South Carolina is not without its share of many of American city problems.
I grew up in Columbia. There's some good things and there's some bad things.
You're always gonna have, you're gonna have certain violence.
You know, obviously you gotta be educated to really be successful in life, and when I was, the area that I grew up in, there wasn't a whole lot of that.
Not a lot of opportunities, great opportunities for the blacks.
Well, that's things from, as I said, we lost our culture. We had babies having babies.
It was either, you have a really good upbringing, with your family, or you was in the streets.
We had 15-year-olds trying to raise kids. Parenting skills were lost.
Very few that were getting the good upbringing in the area that I grew up in.
And now those kids have turned to violence, the gangs.
Statistically, for its size, Columbia nearly triples the nation's average in violent crimes.
We believe if crime has occurred, in some sense, our community and us have failed. But we're really doing a lot about that. This community embraces the understanding that sports really helps mold good citizens.
Statistics show that boys raised without fathers have a higher rate of violent crime.
There are some people there that really tried to lure him into the streets.
And that wasn't, in my estimation, something very hard to do at that point with Jermaine.
I've been through the suspensions, I've been through the fights, I've been through all of that. And it was just really because, at the end of the day, the father figure wasn't there.
A black mother with 2 sons, you need a father.
It was a very painful area for me as far as growing up. I grew up and didn't quite understand why I wasn't good enough to have a father.
And I didn't know that until after he got grown, how painful it was for him to go through life as a child without his blood father.
Jermaine's mom was forced to play 2 roles in the household, raising 2 sons on her own.
Growing up as kids, we didn't have everything. During Christmas times, our mother had to go to Salvation Army to get toys.
You want to have all the things that your friends have, the games, the clothes, the shoes. And it just wasn't a situation where my mother was able to, to really afford it.
So it wasn't good for us.
I taught them, the little boys, if something happened to me, they always stay close to each other and they are bond.
Without enough money for school supplies, the O'Neal brothers were too ashamed to show up at school.
We went in the woods and sat in the woods literally all day, the first full day of school, because we didn't have it. I said, if I ever get a hold of some money, we're gonna have some of the nicer things. At that particular point, it seemed like it was so far-fetched. It was just all dreams, because if somebody had to write a poll on our lives, we never were supposed to make it.
My mother didn't really get a chance to really, be there. She was there, but she had to work too. The first time I actually started cleaning and cooking. I was like 12, 13.
My brother had to really grow up a little bit faster and kind of show me the ways.
Many times I was just drained and stressed, and many nights I didn't sleep because I was trying to figure out how I was going to pay this and robbing Peter to pay Paul.
It made me angry. It made me real angry.
Not having a father in the house affected Jermaine in some bad ways. You know, Jermaine had rage.
My anger was a real problem. You know, growing up, I would just do things.
He would lash out.
He would actually literally just fight. He couldn't say anything about his mama. I mean, he would bust nose up.
You know, I was getting put out of school. I was running the streets.
Just in time, Jermaine's mother met a new man in her life, Moses Ocean.
He was this man, came from nowhere, and he chose to ask me to be his wife and the father of my children. And he was a role model, and then he was a provider. He took care of them like they was their children.
But tragically, Moses Ocean soon passed away due to cancer. After experiencing the loss of another father, Jermaine would have to shift his focus to something he could control. Next up, Jermaine makes a bold statement.
And he said, "Hey, Glimp, I'm gonna be the best player you ever had."
As Jermaine began his high school years, he was met with discipline he wasn't used to.
I had a goal to make these kids better citizens, productive citizens.
In our high school, we had people he didn't allow to play basketball because they didn't want to be the right way, and they had more talent than the guys that were playing.
We were the epitome of being a gentleman. We were a class act.
And he does a great job with these players. They have so much respect and love for him.
We never got technical fouls. We never got in an opponent's face and whooped at him.
He's a very different coach.
I mean, he was really an icon for young people in that community.
He really cared for the kids, and I think that was one of the most important aspects of his job as a coach.
I knew first and foremost that he cared more about me as a person than he did as a player.
He was a third parent or second parent, as it may be, to some of these kids as well.
They develop a father and son relationship. In the beginning, it was love-hate. You know what I'm saying?
He had high expectations for him. Just because you were an outstanding basketball player didn't mean you could come in and ignore his rules.
You know, my pants wasn't up on my waist. I had an earring. I had everything that he didn't like.
He followed them in the classroom. He made them bring him their report cards. He made them bring their interims.
I want everybody to school tomorrow. We're not practice tomorrow.
If you broke one of his rules, you were gone.
Statistically, boys without fathers drop out of school 3 times the rate of their peers. But Jermaine was determined not to be a statistic, but to be a star.
He told me, he said, when I get to Eau Claire, I'm gonna be a star. And I told him, me being his brother, I told him he wouldn't, because we had too many stars at Eau Claire.
As I was getting to my car, he came up and he said, "Hey, Glimp,
I'm gonna play for you, and I'm gonna be the best player to ever play for you."
So I said, "What do you call me?" He said, "I said, hey, Glimp."
And he just kind of looked at me like, you know.
I said, "Well, young man, to you, my name is Coach Glimp or Mr. Glimp. Now, if you can't refer to me in either way, you don't have to speak to me at all." And that was a learning experience for him.
Oh, your eyes just light up when you see a person like that walk into the gym, because, hey, as a 9th grader, if he's 6'4", I guarantee you, look at his feet and say, "Oh, you got big feet. You're gonna be a good 6'9".
Coach Louis Dreer, he was really the pioneer of Jermaine O Neal, because I wasn't very good in basketball. I couldn't really get my footwork down and my drop steps and everything.
I used to make him dance a lot. I used to make him, I said, "Hey, if you're gonna be a player, you gotta be able to move and be able to be smooth on the court."
And he literally pulled me aside and danced with me. And I thought it was crazy. I'm like, "Nah, I'm not dancing with you."
I want to be able to go out there and do things on the dance floor. So you got to be able to do the same thing on the basketball court.
So he just took my hand and we just danced and danced and danced. He did this every single day.
Once the playoffs arrived, Jermaine was moved up to varsity in a rare choice by Coach Glimp.
He was the future. He was just like a sponge. He took in everything Coach Dreer tried to teach him.
Yeah, there's one thing he could do is his first year is block shots. Blocking shots with his left hand.
A type of guy like that, you know, he keep the offensive guy scared to go up, knowing that he could go up with both hands and block a shot.
He broke his right hand when he was in elementary school, and his mother, praised her, made him learn to write with his left hand. So he had to do a lot of things with his left hand. So now he's almost ambidextrous.
Even when he plays on offense, he got right hand, left hand hooks.
And most people think he's left-handed because he does so many things with his left hand. We saw him evolved into not just a great player, but a better person.
Jermaine would now be on Eau Claire's main dance floor, the Rock Pit, known as one of the toughest gyms to play in South Carolina.
Oh gosh, it's insane. Everybody is so intimidated by the Rock Pit.
It was kind of rough.
You better bring your A game.
You know, every night you went to a game, you knew you was gonna win.
Loud, noisy, hot.
And the crowd just let up on you.
A lot of times you had unruly fans.
I can remember one of the things that our team would do when the other team would come, they would meet him at the bus, and they start pulling out, that's my man, that's my man, who they want to defend.
If the team didn't leave in good fashion, they were gonna rock their bus.
And that was always standing room only.
They were breaking through the ceiling.
It was small, it was hot, and between us, I think that's something that George did on purpose.
George would turn up the heat. I think he got that from the Boston Celtics.
All right, BITD, back in the day, we came in and the gym was overbearingly hot. There was some malfunction with the thermostat, so we couldn't turn the heat off. And the guys were almost passing out. So I said, hey, we're gonna use that. So every game, I would come over to this corner and I would take a broomstick because, you know, I'm TD that's too darn short, and I would turn it up.
We sweated everybody out. If you wasn't conditioned well, you wasn't gonna last.
And if a team came with one point guard, by the middle of the third quarter, he was done. He couldn't stand that heat.
Oh, Coach, that's dirty, Coach. I didn't know that.
And the fans would always say, Coach, turn up the heat.
Jermaine would get his first taste of victory as the Shamrocks took the state championship his freshman year.
He was on the team that actually won the championship. That was great. That was real great for him.
The guys are so focused. And gave me the opportunity to watch some of the older guys and their leadership.
I was overjoyed. It was very emotional. It was just an exciting time.
I said, okay, now I gotta take this team, to the next level. And I've always been blessed to have, some great talent with me.
Next up, Jermaine's father would pay him an unexpected visit.
Like I never really saw him before.
It wasn't good at all.